Hello, what's up? I think this is a PodCurt. I hope so. Today, we're in Metz. Beautiful day, a beautiful cloudy little day in Metz. Metz is the center of my study abroad program this summer. It's in France. Metz is a nice little town, pretty fun. But my friends kind of joke, it's like, why stay in Metz when we have the rail pass and can go anywhere on the weekends? So we probably won't be here any weekend, but it's nice to have one today. It's pretty difficult to try and keep these up every weekend just because I'm always somewhere different and always with the boys in each time, and it's kind of hard to separate from when we're all having fun and a good time together. And so yeah, this is PodCurt 11, I think, and today I just want to ask, how can you build your own microverse or micro-universe? Yeah, I know it's a weird one, but just bear with me. I might have a different kind of meaning of micro-universe or microverse than you might think, but alright, let's just hop right in here. Right now I'm just trying to think that a kind of a universe or micro-universe is basically just like a system of parts kind of working together, communicating, and doing something. It's kind of a very loose description, but it's really just a way to coordinate the complexity of everything. Some things that I have really thought about being their own kind of universe is basically just like a bunch of people that, traveling a lot has definitely shown me this a little bit more too, because I travel and I see people playing a sport that I've never heard of, and there's a whole league comprised of this in every big nation, and a whole group of people dedicated to filming and watching it, and that's just thousands and thousands of people that I've never even considered existing, and they're all spending their time and working in different ways, and this can keep going. It can keep being like cast, writers, watchers of a TV show that I've never even seen an ad for or heard of, or is in a completely different language than I can ever realize. And yeah, sometimes these microverses overlap, but for the most part, it really shows you that there's an infinite amount of people. You can just keep going, and this can even go broad more into the understanding of like the physical world. Like you can study science or agriculture or like zoology or the environment most of all, and you'll see like in the background there's just all these plants, and you can go into naming each kind of variety of plant, each genus, the whole DNA of it. And then there's even swans in the lake. You might see them go around sometimes in the background, but then you can classify each of the swans as being their own different type of you can just, keep going with that. Even on the internet too, internet doesn't help in making it less complex in that sense. There's whole different communities of people online that are all dedicated to working in a specific video game, playing a game, or like communicating online. It's just all these different universes, and it's like I've been traveling this whole weekend and I walk somewhere, it's like, wow, that is a whole nother universe. I see an ad for like I walk into like this festival of this is in Zurich. I walk into a festival of just like old cameras or old watches, and it's like, wow, there's people everywhere that have just been designing these watches and cameras and using them, and it's just like there's so many different varieties that, let's talk about something I just learned in economics, and economics is a little weird class for me because sometimes I feel like I'm not getting it all, and then it all just clicks and it's like, oh yeah, obviously. But basically in economics with monopolistic competition, it's like you have a whole bunch of different firms and they're all producing a unique good, and so each of these firms has more variety. However, in the long run with firms competitions, the price goes down, and so then there's a large variety, but the value of them decreases over time. I don't know if that can directly be related to this whole thing, if you can really give a value to a microverse or micro-universe like this, but I just want to emphasize this because I'm trying to build my own micro-universe, if we'll call it that. And I think the question is like not just how to build your own, but like why build your own. And it's like, well, because it's what you do. It's like I feel like that's what a lot of really influential or important people do. It's like, yeah, you make your own universe, you coordinate a bunch of systems, have them all work together, and they all, in the end, pump out a good or a service that is helpful for everyone else. And yeah, so that is very much, I don't know if that's more capitalistic or it's just like a symbiotic way that you benefit by making others benefit. And I think that's definitely a good thing overall, don't you? Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, my hair is getting wacky long. I don't know if I can almost do a man bun, but I might get big made fun of if I do it. And yeah, a little scruffy, we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, like what I'm talking about here, like this big tower just like transmits data all across. It definitely is a big place where they film news in a studio or something like that, and that's just like news channel never tune into. I guess they're everywhere. It's kind of like, then you can also think about, you can think about how how a whole city is a mega system, and they could even be kind of related to a body. It's like, okay, it's kind of the reverse of a body though, because like in the middle of the city, it's where all the work is done, and then you go out of the city and you go to your home, and that's kind of where you regenerate, and then you just go back to the city. And it's kind of like the home is literally the heart. Like home is where the heart is. Like you're a red blood cell. This is just gonna sound like nonsense, crazy stuff, but like you are a red blood cell. The roads are veins, and you start at your heart, your home. You go to work somewhere in the body. You perform your task by moving throughout the system, and then you come back home, back to the heart, and just complete the cycle. And if that is not also related to electronics, you think about how an electron is, well, I mean, it's not, electron's not really, the electron's moving, but it's more the charge that's doing the work. And I mean, the electron moves through the entire system. It starts in the battery, it goes through the system, does its job, comes back to the end of the battery. And if that isn't so similar to the whole cycle, it's like there's got to be some interrelation of everything, like obviously. Okay. And also, like, why build your own microverse is like you'll have fun. Like it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be stressed and complicated, but at the end it's gonna be like, hell yeah, I made my own micro universe, bitch. Like what are they gonna do? I think this is a nice background. I'm glad I walked around for a while to find a good background. This one's definitely it, Chief. This is it. Yes. You notice how I try to have each of my backgrounds look a little nice? I don't know. All right, let's just keep going. And also, why build your own universe? Because like, what else am I gonna do? Like, I'm not just gonna be in someone else's micro universe. Hell nah. I'm making my own. All right. So how? This is gonna be. I might relate it to how I'm doing Waiter. I think I'll just have the podcast be both together because might as well just keep one video. It's gonna be fun anyways. And so, progress on Waiter. Let's see, last time I talked to you was in Paris. Okay, so recently I talked to my guy Bruce, and he is kind of helping me with the business aspects of it. And so I made a whole business plan. I presented it to Bruce. Good. He gave me a lot of good insight. The robot's coming along really well. We're thinking about using a band to run the wheels rather than having two different motors. We can then just do it in one motor, and we can have the one motor lower than where the wheels are, and so then the little neck of the robot becomes smaller so that it can make turns in a smaller radius, so that overall the system works better. Yeah, it's pretty hype. It's going along really well. What else? I have the call with my Chick-fil-A dude in 2 weeks. That is going to be a big deal, very big deal. Next week, hopefully, I'll talk more with people at Georgia Tech just to get some more understanding about how the restaurants all work in their whole food court layout. But yeah, okay. So now how to build your own. I know you've been waiting. I'm gonna tell you. All right, so how you gotta first you outline the rules or functions of your system. Basically, like, all right, what's the end thing of your system? What does your system do in the end? don't really this part isn't really thinking about how it's all going to work. You really want to find out, what's your system do? What does it do? And you want to think like, okay, if it does that, is that going to help people? Yeah. Do people want it? Yeah. Okay, then that's what you're going to do. Boom, step 1, do this. Okay, now step 2, that was the hardest part for sure. That was the hardest part. Like, making it work, that's going to be hard, but it's going to be fun hard, because you know that you're up to something. Yeah, you're up to something. That's what I'm up to something. I'm up to something. Okay, so basically what does my system do? My system delivers items to people without having them wait in line, and this can also be adapted in many different formats that I will get to probably in another one, because that's at least a few years down the line, at least on my system. I think I really have to just understand that I'm gonna get it. I'm getting this cheese. Like, I'm gonna win no matter what. Like, who? Alright, this sounds a little motivation. Okay. Next one. Understand the details of how it all fits together. And so that's understanding how you get from not a product or not a service to having the product or having the service. That's basically all the gears and cogs behind the wheel. That's basically how everything works, and that's behind the scenes. That's like 90% of everything that happens. Or that's all of everything that happens, I guess. Nah, 90%. Okay, and then basically that's like understanding how the atom in each molecule work to align the sharing of electrons. Actually, you don't have to think that specific. That's a little overkill. You're just gonna get lost in there. You want to initially kind of generalize the key components of your system, and then from there the kind of branches that they go out to, and then the branches they go out to, and I think that once you can understand kind of the mega concepts of each of the chunks that is necessary for producing your output, then you can start on the next step, which is organizing the execution of these details. So how are you going to get how are you going to follow through with all these tasks that you defined? How are you going to get them done? Who's going to do them? How fast can you get them done? What is the best way to do them? Those are all questions definitely necessary to be asked and everything to consider. And this is definitely something that if I do it, it's going to take immense amounts of time. And so then you organize the execution of the details. And so this is more like that you can also be organizing others who can help you in organizing the minor details. So like for the mega chunks, you got to get your own 3 people below you, or you don't have to, but you can basically have, for the chunks that you don't think you can quite conceptualize correctly, you can get someone who does, that can help fill in the blanks and the details that you really don't have the RAM, we can say RAM, available to kind of fit that in the whole big picture of how your mind's working. And so like for me, that's kind of more like conceptualizing the software part of my design. And although software is definitely one of the most key components, I think I can understand it a lot myself, but it would just be so nice to have one other person aboard that is very familiar with all this, with all the components in the background, to kind of understand the most efficient way to do it. Because I know there's a bunch of ways to do it, but like having the most efficient and less like the most hassle-free would be nice, but I know that is not always the case, and sometimes it's best just to pump out something that works, and then deal with making it smoother and smoother and smoother as you go. I think that's what I'm going to have to do. And so then the big question with me is, do I bring someone on this early in the phase to help me with coding the main aspects? And I don't know the answer to that one. Okay. And then after you got all the stuff made, basically you detonate the bomb, you press play, and you kind of watch it. If it works, great, and make it work better. Analyze kind of what happens if it's what you expected, if the thing that you made is what you set out to make, or if it's different, and if it's different in a better way or different in a worse way, then you really have to think about redesigning that. I think I'm really just kind of mapping out the process that I'm going to take on developing definitely waiter systems. I think that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, and then after you press play, test it, improve it, repeat, and in the real world, then boom, your whole new microverse is already out and running. Now just make it bigger, I guess. Just keep going with it, see how it can encompass more microverses. Microverse, what's the plural for microverses? Yeah, and then eventually, I think, so like the other plan I set out kind of lead to it is, so right now it's just being conceptualized to be in food courts, but eventually I would like to definitely have it in apartment buildings, and so then it'd go down each of the hallways and would be able to deliver to each person in the hallway. And so like you order something on Amazon, and it's like, all right, hey, you want like 5-minute shipping? You're like, what the hell? How is that even possible? And then it's like, boom, you get a little ding, your phone rings, it's like, yo, your dude's at your door. And then you open your door, and it's just your package floating there, and you just unclip it and it's there. And so like the 5 minutes would have to be like there would be a repository in the basement of your building, and there would be some system oriented that would sort all the packages that were in there and then clip them and send them up to you. And if this is all automatically done, dude, could you believe if that was all automatically done? That would just be wild. That would be wild. That'd be like you could have anything you want at the click of a button. Like obviously there's money, but like the idea behind this is allowing people to not get sidetracked in their everyday life. It's like, oh, I gotta go to the store, I forgot Band-Aids, oh man, I'm out of matches, we gotta go get some. Or like, oh, I'm building this prototype and I need these components for my prototype, but ordering them online is going to take this amount of time, and then once you get them, you might not want to do the prototype anymore, you might have changed your idea, blah 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 blah. And I think doing this would just kind of smooth it out in a good way, you know? In a way that's, yeah, sure, it definitely aids the oils the machine in the realm of consumerism, and I know that it's a lot to be like there can definitely be some Black Mirror on this shit, but really I don't think so. It's not really messing with human psychology at all. I know that's what a lot of like internet-based companies are doing. They're really looking how to crawl their way into your mind and either sell you something or make you subscribe to something. Like, I don't know, I see it a lot on Facebook. I know that the guy behind Facebook, Mark, he was a psychology major, and he really, I think, developed the product to see how human psychology influences people to perceive things and make certain actions when they see something, and kind of how to get you hooked on something, and then how to take advantage of you. And I don't think I really don't want to aim my product in doing anything like that. I want it to be a tool more than a waste of time or components or a means for gluttony. And so I think I have to be in control of a lot of the stock at the end of it, at least, or at least choose my sponsors very wisely, because I would ultimately like to have like a quota to what can be shipped to people, so like they can't just keep ordering 100 bags of chips every day, or like whatever. Like I don't know if that's that's wrong at all to stop people from just continuous indulgence in making themselves fat. But that's definitely a different question to get to. When I get there, I think I should first just make the microverse. And right now, what step am I on? Right now, I'm kind of in between step 2 and 3, understanding the details of how it all fits together and actually executing everything together. And I think I'm more executing things together on the physical front of the robot and the tracks. I think I've worked a lot on that so far, and I think software is still, I'm on step 2 for software, but I'm definitely getting there. I'm so getting there, and it's fun, dude. Those ESP32 chips those are going to be useful, and I'm definitely going to have to use those. Once I saw that you could just get them online for $7 a pop, that's hype. And so I really have to, got to map out more of the components of the robot, kind of have a whole system, maybe do a whole nother cost analysis of that. I have to get a more accurate description of the valuation of what the company could currently earn, and have a legitimate projection at how far I can perceive it going with the current mindset of just food courts. I think it'd be a little bit too aggressive to get into this space of apartment buildings this soon. I really think doing it in food courts first would be the best, because it allow everyone to try it and be like, whoa, this is hype, this is so sick. A robot just fell from the sky and gave me my food, and it was more efficient than anything ever. That's the goal I'm into. I know I'm turning these PodCurts more into pod waiters or weight casts or whatever than they initially are, but I think that's how it's gotta be, boys. I think I gotta focus on this more, and I think these are the same questions that I'm asking myself all the time, because this is just how I'm orienting my mind to face the world I'm in. So yeah, and it's always nice to do it somewhere nice and pretty. Like nature's hype, and I think it's definitely influential. The program I was in high school, it was called Agents of Change, and I think that the Agents of Change curriculum really focused on bringing kids into nature, because we had like 5 hour-bound programs, and somehow they intertwine entrepreneurship and the environment and like nature, the natural world. And I think that those two worlds are really not as different as some people would perceive, because they are both their own like interlockings of microverses, you know? And I think, really quick, I think that there's kind of 2 ways to affect overall a large amount of microverses, and that's either, one way is to think very largely and find out a way to encompass as many microverses as possible, or to serve as many microverses as possible. And I think that's something being done by Amazon. Amazon's doing that very well. And I think that, Bezos definitely thinking really big, because he's not thinking anymore how to ship one product to someone. He's thinking about how to ship all the products to everyone. And yeah, when it gets that big, you gotta kind of think it's more of a utility than as just a single company, because if it's not a utility, then it's a solo monopoly, and then that's like world domination level stuff. So don't do that, please, Mr. B. Don't world dominate us. And then the second way is to make such a tiny little microverse in the right place. Like you put a pebble down in a large boulder and change everything. And I think definitely Tommy E, my boy Tommy E, Edison, he definitely with electricity, I don't know if he was exactly Tommy E or Tesla, with electricity, having the electrons go through a circuit, or charge move through a circuit, manipulating the electrons in a material. That is just, like, how do you conceptualize that, dude? I still don't even know. Definitely aliens. for sure aliens. All right, we're running way past our time limit. Hope you had a good time. This is a fun PodCurt. Yeah, bye.